young running backs.
And for Boston College, explosive plays. They want to pick some up, and more importantly, they need to prevent the Cardinals, or prevent the Wolfpack from doing what the Cardinals did a couple weeks ago. Feels like a turning point game today, although you feel like that anytime one of these 12 teams in the middle of the pack, no pun intended, in the ACC come together. Levy and Glines are back to return. The Eagles won the toss and chose to receive. And as Trenton Gill was approaching the football, the wind knocked it off the tee. It has been very breezy the past couple of days in Massachusetts. Last 3 meetings between NC State and Boston College, all decided by one possession. Let's hope we have another great one today. Short kickoff and returnable. Travis Levy across the 30, breaks a tackle, and great starting field position for Dennis Grosel, who makes his first career start today for Boston College. He was the 4th string quarterback a year ago. Came as a walk-on, now he's on scholarship. What do you expect from the BC offense today?
Well, they said they're not going to change what they do. This is an offense that features 3 tight ends, sometimes even 4 tight ends. They want to be big, they want to come down and run the ball, and it's going to give Grosel some opportunities off play action to make a play down the field.
There's 3 touchdowns off the bench in relief of Brown. Not too much of a surprise. A.J. Dillon gets the carry, and he gets rocked by the safety, Jarius Moorhead. Decent gain on first down for Dillon.
The difference about this offense, Evan, is the 3 tight ends, they still play with tempo. So they're up at the line of scrimmage right away. Here's Dillon again.
Pitch, Dillon hit the backfield by Seuss. Picks up where he left off 9 days ago at Carter Finley Stadium. Eagles have 3rd down coming up.
It's going to be important for NC State to make sure Dillon runs sideways, to not let him get downhill, because 250 coming downhill is a load. He has a tough time changing direction. Sometimes they want to get him going sideline to sideline.
Empty backfield. Grosel's first throw of the day is defended. Incomplete. Tanner Engel breaks it up. And Boston College will have to punt.
Engel, the leading tackler on this team, does a nice job. They go 0 coverage. Nobody in the back end. Come up with 7 after the passer. Force Grosel to a quick throw, and a good job by Engel to be right on coverage. Batted out there with the left hand on the slant route.
Thomas, the dynamic returner for NC State. He had a touchdown return against Ball State back in September. Grant Carlson to kick it away for BC. Low line drive, it's going to bounce, and Thomas has it on the skip. Look out, folks. Thomas with a good return, and the NC State will begin from their own 36-yard line. Second start for Bailey Hockman, but first the return for Thomas.
Smart play by Thomas here. He realizes the ball's going to roll probably inside the 10-yard line, picks it up on the hop. This guy was a baseball player. That's like playing the outfield, scoop and get the ball back to the infield. Does a nice job of running upfield and gives NC State excellent field position to start their opening drive.
Hockman has appeared in 5 of the 6 games this year for NC State. He made his first start against the Orange 9 days ago. Wolfpack felt he played well for the most part at times, tried to do a little too much. And good defense for BC at the start. Tackle in the backfield, bring it down Van Dyke.
Excellent job of getting a little bit extra people to the line of scrimmage, and that time Max Richardson was able to blitz through the A-gap there, really fill the hole, no place a night to go.
If we talked about strength on strength, BC rushing, NC State rush deep. The weaknesses of these 2 teams are on the field now. Hockman's throw almost intercepted. It was Mike Palmer who got his hands on it for BC. The Eagles defense has been shredded. NC State's always shredded. What do you expect here?
Trying to force it in to Hines running the slant. That excellent read on the play by Mike Palmer, the safety. Palmer comes down to the play and probably asked him. He should have picked that off and given BC an opportunity early.
Eagles bring in 4 new defensive linemen for this 3rd and 11 snap, including Shita Salai, the true freshman that the Eagles are quite excited about. Pressure coming. Hockman cannot get away. There's the true freshman from Somerset, New Jersey, Shuta Salah. His first career sack.
All they can talk about, Bill Sheridan, defensive coordinator, talked about this guy named Shuta Salah. And he's going to be a big-time rusher here at Boston College. And boy, he didn't wait very long. First play of the game, the freshman burst through and a big sack for BC.
I dream of a situation like that. A loss of 13.
I said the kid cuts off the charts with all the stuff he does in the weight room, all the running. They think if he grows into the league, he's going to be a monster.
Bentley Hills punt by Levy, and he gets the rep. Hard hit by Drake Thomas. Thomas's brother. Each team goes 3 years experiencing an injury to his starting quarterback. Same play call as 2 years ago. For Anthony Brown, 2 years ago, it was against the Wolfpack. This year against Louisville 2 weeks ago. Kelsey Wingert has more on the last couple of weeks for Anthony Brown.
Yeah, very unfortunate injury for Anthony Brown, who did undergo knee surgery on his left knee on Tuesday. Now, this is the second time since he's been at Boston College that he's had knee surgery, but Boston College still really likes this guy. This is somebody who is staying in contact with his teammates. And speaking to Dennis Grosel yesterday, he said, Anthony and I are talking almost every day. He specifically told us about a conversation they had right before Anthony went into surgery, and he said, he just told me, be yourself, be relaxed. He said, these guys out here, they trust you. You're fine. Trust yourself. Trust your teammates. Trust your coaches. So, guys, it's easy to say, Anthony Brown not on the field, but he is still making an impact on his guys on the field today.
Absolutely. Great leadership there.
Play action. Grosel denied again. Intended for Coban White downfield, but it's Dunlap with the deflection.
Just a quick flash play fake and a throw in behind. This is that pull the linebackers in and now I'll throw the slant in behind. An excellent job in the back end by Dunlap. He's a long corner, 6'3", long wingspan. Did a nice job of getting in there and batting it out.
Back to the ground for the Eagles. And a pickup of about 5. It'll be 3rd down and 5. Isaiah Moore on the stop. Hey, Dave, a couple good one-on-one pass defenses in the opening couple of drives. Does that give the defensive coordinator Dave Huxtable a little more confidence to stay in that man throughout the game?
Well, they're going to need to do that because they want to crowd the line of scrimmage with more people to stop the run game. So it's going to put them in a situation where they have to play man coverage. You certainly like to see guys making plays.
Zay Flowers coming down to the spot, and he's going to pick up the first down by a half yard.
And this is something you'll see more. BC will move their quarterback a little bit more, give him a little bit more of a run pass option, a little sprint to the left. Good job of getting the ball in the left flat, there. Zay Flowers, they love Flowers. No shake to this guy.
No shake there, though. On the give, Flowers hitting the backfield. Brock Miller.
This is a front seven for NC State. And I don't know how they keep doing it. Dave Dorn deserves a ton of credit for how they recruited NC State. They've got so many good players. They're banged up, but they continue to put people on the field that are next-level players.
Flowers again near midfield. Taken down by Moorhead. And it's going to be 3rd and inches.
Again, the quarterback on the move, Evan, so much more comfort zone for Grosel. Maybe some better sight angles for him to find his receivers. Does a nice job of coming across the middle and finding Flowers again.
Jumbo formation here. Flowers out, lines in motion. Grosel takes it himself. And judging by the spot, the Eagles will have a new set of downs. It's an amazing story, Dennis Grosel, because he was at his high school graduation expecting to go to Butler in the fall in Indianapolis and play college baseball. And from his graduation mass, his high school football coach came up to him and basically said, hey, just got a call from Boston College. They have a preferred walk-on spot at quarterback. Do you want to play college football? Oh, there's a catch. You have to let me know by the end of the week. And you're not going to meet the coaching staff before then. So, I mean, he talked about it with his parents. Sight unseen, had not met Steve Adazio. committed to come to BC with no guarantee of anything.
Well, another crazy part of that story, it was a kind of a gray shirt scenario because they didn't have a spot for him in the fall. So he had to sit out the fall. Actually came and visited BC back in 2017 in November. That's the first time he met Steve Adazio after he'd already committed to come as a preferred walk-on. Now, of course, Coach Adazio's put him on scholarship, and pretty cool moment for him as he got put on scholarship and he had to call his parents and let them know.
That was in spring ball this past year where he kind of gained everyone's confidence, became the backup. With Anthony Brown's injury, Grosel, the wise decision. Grosel, now a redshirt sophomore out of St. Ignatius in Cleveland, Ohio. Kelsey, you got more down the sideline.
Well, you were talking about that incredible story of how Grosel ended up here, but one of my favorite parts of the story was when he said that he was working as an assistant coach for his high school football team and that overlap that you spoke about. And he said that was a way that he was able to keep throwing the ball, keep in shape, and be ready to go and for an opportunity just like this.
It was a personal foul penalty that backed up the Eagles. So here's Hunter Long with plenty of room. Great screen for Boston College, and Hunter Long takes it inside the 10. Devin Graves saved the touchdown.
Nobody gets more out of their tight ends than Boston College does. They play a ton of them, fake the quick screen to the outside. Now it's a 3-count screen to the backside to Long. Gets excellent blocking. Really nobody home for NC State defensively. And a touchdown-saving tackle there by Graves.
51 yards on the screen to Hunter Long. Now Boston College into the CPI red zone. And before the snap, the flag flies.
Number 81, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Chris Garrison, tight end from New Hampshire.
It's crazy, Evan, when you look at this offense, you think, okay, it's a pound you, run the ball, 3 tight end. This is an offense that came in with 19 plays of 30-plus yards on the year already, halfway through the year. They make explosive plays, these big people on the field.
Here's A.J. Dillon, and he will bulldoze inside the 10 to about the 9. I think both coaching staffs had a stressful week game planning for this game. NC State's proud of what they've done defensively, but they haven't gone against a team with this many tight ends.
No, they didn't have any tape to look at. There's nothing to kind of prepare themselves for either side of the ball, really, but certainly for this tight end set, they hadn't played anybody that wanted to play this physical.
Dillon, the single back, play action. Dennis Grosel, time running out. Throws it away.
Well, that's a good decision by the young quarterback. He had a couple of tight window throws he could have made out there in the right flat. Had Long, had Garrison potentially, but they were tight. You got to take care of the ball down here. You got to come away with points. Good decision by the inexperienced quarterback in Grosel. That was a very experienced decision.
Zay Flowers back into the game for Steve Adazio's team. Flowers at the top of your screen on 3rd and goal from the 9-yard line. Grosel hit as he throws. The pressure came fast from NC State.
There's Isaiah Moore, the middle backer, coming on the blitz, and he's going to get in on Grosel before he can even load it up.
There's a flag thrown right near where Grosel landed.
Intentional ground there. Offense. Number 6. No receiver in the area. Hills and launches down at the spot of the pass. 4th down.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with this one, Evan. I think he gets hit as he's throwing it, which makes the throw errant. I don't think he's trying to throw it away to avoid the sack. I think he's actually in the motion of trying to throw the football and gets hit by Moore, the middle backer.
And that's going to be about a 12-yard loss, transforming what would have been about a 27-yard try into a 39-yard try. Now, Dennis Grosel has been the holder all season long for Aaron Boumeri. Season long is 45. This is from 39 to give the Eagles the early lead. And Boumeri pulled it. No good. Massachusetts. NC State set to begin its second possession. BC went 49 yards in 12 plays, but has nothing to show for it. So Hockman fakes the give to Zonovan Bam Knight and launches deep. And it is almost intercepted intended for Emeka Emezi. Pretty good coverage downfield by BC.
Yeah, Michael Palmer again in position to make this interception. This is one you don't normally make as a quarterback. Little play fake. When you throw a post down the middle, if the middle safety's home, you try to stay off of the post. But probably a poor decision by Bailey Hockman to put this up to bat. Emeka Emezi, a great player, but Palmer in position, probably should have had his second interception of the game.
Not even midway through the first quarter, and he's a safety, and he's gotten hands on the ball twice. Little hitch and go, and it's incomplete, intended for Devin Carter down that same sideline.
That's a well-thrown ball there on the fade route. Low percentage throw down the sideline, bump and run coverage, and a well-thrown ball by Bailey Hockman there. Bailey Hockman, a son of a coach, had a chance to do a couple of Bailey's games in high school at McEachern High School in Powder Springs, Georgia. Big-time player, went to Florida State, sat out last year. Got a great opportunity here with NC State.
3rd down and 10. Thomas was the man in motion. And that's the direction the ball goes. And there, Thomas goes nowhere after the catch. The ACC's leading tackler, Max Richardson.
I think we're going to say his name a ton. They did last week in the Louisville game. He had 14 tackles last week. Max Richardson is the #1 tackler. 63 tackles on the year. Reads this quick screen, beats the block of Angeline, the tight end, makes the play, and forces the punt.
That was a loss of 1 on that play. That's 2 drives for NC State. They've gone negative 15 yards. Again, Levy back to return. The NC State punt from his own 31. Levy near midfield. Boston College back on offense. But first, a quick word from Advance Auto Parts.
I can sign 12 autographs in 6 seconds. So reminding you to check your battery this fast? Easy.
2 weeks ago against Louisville, Mike Bajakian's Eagles offense produced 563 yards. That's a season high. They had nothing to show for it in the win column, of course. But they don't expect a drop-off going from Anthony Brown to Dennis Grosel.
No, but you got to cash these opportunities in. This is a short field opportunity, albeit it's against an unbelievably good defense. You've got to cash this in.
Here's Dillon across midfield. Spun down in the Wolfpack 45-yard line.
Really nice job of creating a crease in there for A.J. Dillon. Big-time back. 3 consecutive 100-yard games so far for Dillon. Like 16 in 29 games. He's going to crush the BC rushing record held by Andre Williams, if not today, next week, maybe.
He's feeling good physically, he says, after a sophomore year in which he was banged up, and it takes multiple strong defenders to bring down A.J. Dillon.
This is where he's at his best, Evan, when he's coming downhill. This is what they're looking for. See, he's coming straight downhill, gets a nice block there on the perimeter, and then the big body hard to bring on the ground. Zion Johnson leading him through there, the left guard.
Grosel keeps it, sets his feet. Great defense from the pack again. Stephen Griffin this time gets the PBU.
Yeah, Griffin's the nickel back. Does an outstanding job of covering all over the place. This time he draws. Garrison does an excellent job of getting in with the left hand. NC State's done a good job of not grabbing in coverage. They're playing a lot of cover one, which just means man coverage in the back end with a safety in the middle of the field. They're doing an excellent job of not grabbing downfield and creating fouls.
High formation behind Grosel. This is the first carry of the game for David Bailey. Sophomore picks up a couple. Jarius Moorhead with a stop.
Well, you think
3rd down.
Think about it, Evan. 250-pound A.J. Dillon comes out. You think, okay, we catch a break. Here comes David Bailey at 240 and another downhill banger at running back. So you don't get any breaks when these two guys sub in for one another.
That's Aleem McNeil, the 6'2 defensive tackle. Hometown kid from Raleigh, shaken up. We'll step aside. 3rd down coming up. An impressive tailgating scene outside Alumni Stadium on this homecoming Saturday. And it was just a picture-perfect morning for a fall October night. Into the morning here in Chestnut Hill. Steve Adazio greets a 3rd down here. And especially in this part of the field, They might try to pick up 4 or 5 yards on this 3rd and 8 to set up a 4th and manageable.
Yeah, Coach Bajaki and their offensive coordinator talked about how a lot of times we'll play 4 down, so they may be trying to just get to that area where they think they can go for it.
By the way, Aleem McNeil did walk off the field under his own power. The injured member of the pack. Grosel looking deep. That ball dislodged at the last moment. Intended for Garrison. He had it and lost it. Jarius Moorhead broke it loose.
I love the route. It's a layered route. 3 receivers to get the ball to with the quarterback on the move. This is where Grosel probably feels his best at the athletic position. Makes a pretty good throw. Sets Garrison up for an opportunity to high point the football. And again, once again, NC State, give their DBs a ton of credit. They've done a great job in the man coverage of getting the ball out on pretty well thrown balls.
On 4th and 8, Eagles with some fantastic special teams. The Wolfpack don't have a positive play in their first 2 drives, and they're 99 yards away from the end zone.
Now, short field opportunity there for BC. NC State's defense did what it needed to do. It needed to come in, get a stop, limit what they could do, kept them out of field goal range. But give BC's special teams credit. They pin NC State again, and NC State has struggled on offense.
BC has run 19 plays. They have nothing to show for it, of course. NC State has gone 3 and out twice. They've run 6 plays.
A lot of coaches in this situation like to take a shot because a lot of times defensive coordinators will hug up trying to make a play, maybe get a safety, and you get one-on-one coverage on the outside like you get up the top there at the screen.
They're going to go with a quarterback sneak just to get a little breathing room. Hockman, 6'2", 208 pounds, and picks up a couple. Jordan Houston, the other freshman running back, has come in the game. In fact, NC State basically 3 freshman backs. Ricky Person Jr., the veteran of the group, the sophomore, missed the Syracuse game after an injury against Florida State.
Well, Dave Dorn loves these running backs. I had a chance to talk to him before the game today, and he just loves the shake and what they bring. He says we're going to need some explosive plays from our backs today.
Hockman in his own end zone to throw. And he overshoots Thomas on the perimeter.
Now, good job by the outside linebacker there, getting out underneath the throw to Thomas. It did not make it an easy throw. Might have looked like it was an open receiver, but because there was an undercut of the throw by the defender, made it tough on Hockman to pull it in there. And Hockman wants to be careful of the ball. Obviously, doesn't want a turnover down here in his end of the field.
You may have noticed on the back of Bailey's jersey, Hockman has the N correctly placed on the back of his jersey. 9 days ago, it was upside down. There's an interception. Boston College with a pick 6. Jason Maitre.
Well, Maitre gets the touchdown here on the undercut on the throw in man coverage, but give Max Richardson a ton of the credit, an assist, if you will. The pressure by the linebacker forces Hockman to throw the ball under heat. Here comes Richardson, number 14, forces the quarterback to throw the ball maybe before he was ready to. And an ill-advised throw. Excellent read by Maitre to undercut the route and an easily waltz into the end zone for BC and a defensive touchdown.
Maitre is one of those talented freshmen that the Eagles think has potential. They live with some mistakes. And his first marquee play comes in the opening quarter against NC State on homecoming at Alumni Stadium.
Well, Jason Maitre, the freshman, as Evan just described, his first career interception as a Boston College Eagle. Not bad. Pretty good memory for him. 8-yard return for a touchdown and puts his team in front.
Made his first career start against Wake Forest at the end of September. Had a season-high 9 tackles against the Cardinals. And Boston College, their defense has been shaky at times, but they have been excellent at stealing the football from the opposing offense.
Well, it's a phase game, right? It's the different phases of the game washing the other one's hand, right? The special teams set up that opportunity. Great job of downing the ball on the 1-yard line. Backed up NC State. NC State been struggling a little bit moving the football. And then you get the pressure by Richardson, the Maitre steal. And Boston College, who really has had pretty good field position offensively, really hadn't done much with it, missed the field goal. Defense takes care of business, puts points on the board.
Came into today 11th in the nation in turnover margin. Danny Longman to kick off. Keon Lassane is back, and I'm not sure what the Eagles kicker was thinking there, because that didn't come close to the end zone.
Now, he'll want to exit the field down where the tee is, because he's not going to want to see Steve Adazio for a little while, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's going off the field about 50 yards from where Adazio is.
NC State will begin from its 35-yard line. The Wolfpack will have their 4th possession. They have not done much so far on offense. As we check in with Kelsey on the sideline.
Talking about Dennis Grosel, how he's making his first career start here at Boston College. And speaking to his coaches, they just tell us that he's a cool cat. They said no stage is too big for him. And you guys down here on the sidelines, you would never know that this isn't a veteran quarterback. He is getting into those huddles. He is commanding attention. He is leading this team. And this stage, like they said, doesn't seem to be too big for him.
No gain for Jordan Houston there for NC State.
Yeah, the story right now for me in the game right now is how well BC's playing defensively. We talked to the coach Bill Sheridan yesterday, and he likes his guys, but they're having to play a ton of guys that maybe not quite ready to play because of some injuries, or some guys that have been here for a long time that have finally earned their right to play and weren't starters prior to. But they're doing an excellent job against NC State's offense.
Bill Sheridan, the defensive coordinator, no relation to the longtime NC State coach Dick Sheridan. And the most positive play of the day for NC State, picks up a dozen and creates a first down out across the 45-yard line.
Now you want to try to get your big timer involved, and that's Emeka Emezi. Excellent player. Gets the inside area, gets the zone, a little bit of a zone pressure, but he just finds a little hole. Hockman on the same page with his receiver. You want to get Emezi involved in the game. 6'3", 210, big-time player at the receiver spot.
Hockman was 1 for 6 for -1 before that 11-yard completion. Look out, Thomas can throw it just like he did against Syracuse. Thayer Thomas completes it on the double pass. Devin Carter into Eagles territory.
Well, and you run it on the freshman corner, right? Maitre is the guy that just made the play. Maitre comes off of coverage to come up and make the play on the screen in the flat to Thayer Thomas, and Thayer Thomas shoots one down the field.
24-yard gain on the pass from Thomas. Hockman's going to keep it himself. Tucks it in his right shoulder and takes it out of bounds.
Now, a better job this time by Hockman to take care of the football here. This was tight coverage.
Dave, there's a joke among Wolfpack fans that Thomas might be the best quarterback on the team. Now in his career, he's 4 for 5 passing for 130 yards and 3 touchdowns. This was 9 days ago in Raleigh.
Yeah, he's got another completion today. Thayer Thomas, a multifaceted guy, returns kicks. We saw a really good punt return from him earlier. Now he's got a completion today. They need Thayer Thomas to make some plays.
On 2nd and 3. Anticipating the play was Mike Palmer.
But Palmer has been everywhere today. We talked about him being around the football. Probably should have 2 interceptions today. How about him reading this play in the flat? They came with pressure off the edge. Palmer's responsibility in coverage was that left flat area, and he was right there, Johnny, in the spot to make the play and force 3rd and long.
The 5-yard loss transforms 2nd and 3 into 3rd and 8.
Number 2 tackler on this team for Steve Adazio and Bill Sheridan on that defensive side of the football. Palmer, he's been everywhere so far today.
Keon Lassane caught the pass and lost 5 yards. So
this is a defense that has not handled 3rd down very well. Team's converting at 49% on 3rd down, and NC State looks like they're going to burn a timeout and tuck it over.
Dave Doran will let his offense think about it. And Boston College defensively, they weren't great a couple weeks ago. They've been much better so far today.
Yeah, they've done an excellent job of taking care of business. Getting after the passer, limiting the run game, making it tough on Bailey Hockman. In fact, forcing him into the one mistake that has points on the board today as BC returned Dillon for a touchdown.
One thing that Steve Adazio said last week that I thought was really interesting. You would think during the bye week, when the defense was struggling, they would self-scout, focus on them. He says that they did 3 really good days preparing for NC State during the bye week. He thought that was right for this football team. So far, so good.
Well, sometimes you flush the bad memories out of the mind by moving on to the next opponent, right? And I think that's what they tried to do.
Trent Penix is the 3rd Wolfpack running back in the game on this 3rd down. Hockman slings it downfield, completes it And dragging defenders inside the 10-yard line. Devin Carter, first and goal.
Well thrown ball by Hockman here. Thought he got it out a little bit late, but throwing that bang it post or the seam post, geez, shoot it in there. Nice job putting it right on his receiver, Carter.
This is Penix inside the 5, down to about the 4. Penix, the recipient of that Thayer Thomas 32-yard touchdown against Syracuse 9 days ago at Carter Finley Stadium.
This is an offense that can run it down here. 11 rushing touchdowns, so it's not something they've been able to come off the ball and pound people in the run game when they needed to here down close.
They've scored in 24 of their 25 red zone trips this year. Bam Knight to the 1.
Smallish running backs, too, Evan. When you start talking about the running backs, Knight's only 195 pounds. Houston only 185 pounds. Really, Penix is the guy you got to bring in at 225 pounds. It's the pounder.
This is about muscle here. And Knight does not get to the goal line. Didn't even get close. Maybe lost half a yard. It's 4th down.
Well, Tanakarafa, the inside defensive tackle, is the guy that kind of seals the door. Max Richardson there as well, the leading tackler. So gang tackling by BC and forces a 4th down situation here where Dave Dorn hasn't hesitated. He's going to keep his offense on the field.
No sign whatsoever of Christopher Dunn. Thayer Thomas, Devin Carter at the bottom of your screen. Tabari Hines, Emeka Emezi up top. Bam Knight alongside Bailey Hockman. And he throws incomplete.
He had him. It's going to be a quick throw. Thayer Thomas runs the quick out from the slot, and Bailey Hockman misses him. Just coming right at you here. You see Thayer Thomas is just, it's going to be a tight window. It's going to be a tight throw, but he's got him, and he just airmails him. See, Thayer Thomas has just enough room for you to fit it in just inside the pylon. He went to the right guy, just didn't pull it down to his target.
Hockman guides a 10-play, 63-yard drive, and the Wolfpack come up empty. Eagles will take over at their own 2-yard line. Missed opportunities for both teams, the story of this first quarter.
Well, certainly the defenses have played a huge role. And here's an opportunity now for NC State to flip the script. We saw NC State's offense have a tough time moving it off. Let's see if BC can move the ball out of the shadow of their own goalpost.
Dillon dangerously close to his goal line. They ruled that he got it to the 1. They have lost a yard, though.
Yeah, crowding the line of scrimmage. They're going to play an 8-man box most of the day. Excellent job at defeating the block of Garrison there. Come up and make the tackle. Griffin, the nickel back in the game, plays like a linebacker. But you can see how many players are around the line of scrimmage for NC State.
Dangerously close to a safety there. Now in the shotgun, Grosel. That's time to step up. And he just kind of throws it away.
And went double move on the outside. Hitch and goes on both outsides. Solidified protection with the back staying in. You saw there was 8 men in the box. Go one-on-one on the outside. An excellent job again by NC State in the corner position. This is a team, Evan, that is on their 5th and 6th corner. Dave Dorn talking about he is so deep. He's got guys playing that he didn't plan on playing. Some of them are young players. Some of them are older players that have gotten on the field because of injury, but they're playing well today.
Grosel completes it on the move to Glines. He'll be shy of the first down, but it will give Grant Carlson some breathing room on 4th down. And presumably the second quarter will begin with a punt, and by switching ends of the fields, Carlson will have the wind at his back when he punts to start the second quarter. Homecoming in Chestnut Hill Stadium, everybody. It's Boston College in front, 7-0 over North Carolina State. Nice round numbers in the total yards category. Makes it easy to characterize. 100 yards for the Eagles, 50 yards for the Wolfpack. Only 1 turnover, and that was an interception for a touchdown, 8 yards from the redshirt freshman Jason Maitre.
Yeah, the defense has been the story, and here again, the defense forces an opportunity for NC State to a short field situation here.
Thayer Thomas standing at the BC 43, and that punt isn't going to get there. Bounces out of bounds, actually right around the 42. And they marked it at the 41, so short field, as you said, for Hockman and NC State.
Well, remember, BC got the same opportunity. They got the ball about their 48-yard line, so it's half a field opportunity. Did not take advantage of it, had to punt. It led to the interception for a touchdown. Can NC State, who just had a nice long drive and resulted in nothing, turning it over on 4th down, can they cash this one in?
Hang on 1 second, Dave. It's not Hockman in NC State. It's Devin Leary in NC State. Leary, the redshirt freshman, has appeared in the past couple of games for Dave Doran. McGill picks up 1, maybe 2 yards. Leary, has done a lot of good things, and the coaches have said he's also had some teachable moments, but they really like this kid's arm.
All-time leader in New Jersey high school history in passing yards and touchdowns. The guy had a celebrated career at Timber Creek High School.
Gatorade New Jersey Player of the Year, both as a junior and a senior. And rifles it to the left arm of Thomas, who shifts it into his right arm and takes it into the red zone.
This ball actually gets on Thomas before he knows it's coming, but he got such great athleticism that he just snags it out of the air with one hand, reels it in, and then, of course, secures it with that right arm, as you said, Evan. But quick throw by Leary and a big play by Thomas.
23 yards. Leary's arm on display. Thomas just can do a little bit of everything for this team. The ball comes loose. Leary recovers in time to maintain possession, but he gets hammered by a host of maroon jerseyed BC tacklers.
So play can't start until you catch the snap. That was a little hot into his right shoulder, but you're responsible as the quarterback to catch that ball as long as it's not over your head. And Leary just did not look it in. They had a RPO going, or a zone read going there, and he was so quick to maybe make the play fake that he didn't get the ball secured.
Who was the first coach who told you the play doesn't begin until you catch a snap?
Yeah, that was my junior high coach, and he slammed one in my stomach and reminded me I got to hold the ball.
Richardson again, great anticipation, brings down Jordan Houston. It'll be 3rd and long.
Excellent job. Just a quick handoff, and Richardson has done a nice job of diagnosing plays. The junior linebacker from Duluth, Georgia, has been all over the place. He and Palmer have been very impressive. The safety and the linebacker have been everywhere.
Through the years, Boston College has had so many good tackling linebackers. Richardson is the next to the crop.
That was a pretty good one playing for the Panthers that made every tackle for Boston College.
And making every tackle for the Carolina Panthers as well. On 3rd down and 15, Leary tucks it, and he'll take it to about the 15-yard line. He picks up about 8 yards. It'll be 4th down. And here comes Christopher Dunn in the field goal unit.
Now, the one thing that Hockman and Leary don't necessarily bring to the table is that other facet of the game, the ability to get out of the pocket and create on your own. Neither guy is overly elusive outside. Leary tried to kind of limit what the negative play was, got as much as he could. That's where Matthew McKay, who was the starter to begin the year, outstanding runner, just has not handled the passing game as well.
Dunn from 30 sends it through. The sophomore kicker gets the Wolfpack on the board to culminate the drive that began in a very short field. 7-3 BC, 2nd quarter.
Uniforms, and that is in honor of the great Doug Flutie. Now, they said that these specialty uniforms showcase the school's tradition and history. If you start with the retro BC shoulder logos and the block number font on the front, and then the maroon face mask, the traditional gold helmets, but the stripes on the sleeves and the side panel of the gold pants pay homage to the uniform and style of play of the 1980s. You guys were talking about Hail Flutie when that happened, and in 1984, the year that Flutie won the Heisman. So they're bringing back some history with these unis today.
Well, I got a text right before kickoff. Doug texted me his new phone number and said, "Go Eagles." So he's not very far from watching what's going on with the Boston College Eagles. Actually have a chance to be around Matt Ryan with my duties with the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. And Matt said he'd be watching today too. In fact, he said, "Tell the young quarterback, hey, we're all pulling for you. Get in there and play." I don't know if I put more pressure on him after I told him that Doug Flutie and Matt Ryan would be watching, but they're looking for you to make some plays.
You are a first-class name dropper, my friend. Here's A.J. Dillon on the first down carry, and he will spin for first down yardage out to the 37-yard line.
Again, Dillon going downhill. That's what they're looking for him to do. There's a little wide toss, but he gets those shoulder pads going downhill towards the goal line. He's very tough to handle.
Actually spotted the ball just a half yard short. So now Dillon picks up the first down on 2nd and inches. And 2 good carries for the Connecticut native to begin this drive. You know, 2 years ago, he had a pretty big game against the Wolfpack defense, ran for 196 yards, did not play in the game, didn't even make the trip to Raleigh last year because of the nagging injury. A.J. Dillon, look out.
Well, 3 consecutive runs now for Dillon, and what BC's doing is getting their big back going straight downhill. Again, another broken line play. They like to pull the backside. That's Zion Johnson. Gets the pin block or the trap block. It's the old counter tray, the old Redskin counter tray. Get a big guy out in front with a big guy running the football.
Near disaster there on the timing, but they do get the give to Flowers, who just takes it out of bounds, minimizes the damage.
Yeah, BC does probably as good a job as anybody does, and Oklahoma doing this now with their run game. BC came in 9th in the country running the football, number 1 in the ACC. Oklahoma 3rd in the country running the football. Both those teams averaging well over 250 yards a game, and they're using this broken line pull play to create creases for their running backs.
A crease for David Bailey. Creates a 3rd and 2 from the NC State 27-yard line.
Now these 2 backs, I talked about, there's really no break when you get Bailey coming in. We take a look at the running game. This is we talked about the number 1 defense against the run, number 1 offense against the run, and all of a sudden Boston College getting some traction in the run game.
Garrison in motion on 3rd and short. It's Bailey. He's got the first down to the 24-yard line.
Again, pulling those guards. This time it's the right guard, John Phillips. It's going to lead Bailey up through the hole, looking to create a trap. Watch Bailey 70 step around. Now looking for the first colored jersey to hit. He actually didn't hit anybody, but he's running through that hole, and you've got to run around him to make the play. Both he and Zion Johnson do an excellent job with these G plays, pulling the guards.
Sure are. Dillon back in there. You can just tell the freshness factor of Dillon after he gets a couple of plays off. He looks faster than any of the defenders for NC State.
And it's really kind of this year, it's kind of burst on the scene for him, right? They got a little bit out of Bailey a year ago, but not a lot. And so it was Dillon's show. Now with the 2 guys, and both of them as big as they are, you said it, they're fresh. They got this big offensive line coming off the ball, and they really grind you down.
Dillon averages 24 carries a game so far this year. They fake the pitch to Dillon. Instead, it's Flowers who loses a bunch. Spotted back at the 20. He lost 7.
Looked like Tanner Engel, the safety, gets up in the line of scrimmage. This is what you start doing now as a defense to limit the run game. You need to have a hat in every gap. And here is the free safety, Engel, up around the line of scrimmage. He makes the play in the backfield.
2nd and 17. A.J. Dillon, 11 of 75. Here's his 12th carry. Stumbles over the traffic underneath him and picks up 4.
Now, what you want to do as a defense with these big backs like this, more often than not, they're not quite as nifty or as fleet of foot. Now, Dillon would belie that a little bit, but if you can stutter step their feet, you can get to them quicker and get them on the ground because they're not as quick to step on the accelerator. There was a little bit of that right there.
If you're Dennis Grosel here, don't make a mistake, right?
Absolutely. You got points in your pocket potentially.
Quarterback draw. Grosel hit just shy of the 10-yard line.
And I said potentially because they've already missed a short field goal today.
Darius Moorhead with a stop for NC State. That was a heavy dose of Dillon on that drive. To march him 63 yards in 10 plays. And here's Boumeri, who missed from 38 in the first.
Yeah, he's only got 3 misses on the year. He's 5 of 8 on the year. All 3 misses have come between 30 and 39 yards.
This one is from 28. And Boumeri boots it through. Drive in which they did not throw the ball 11 plays, 10 of which were rushes. The last play, the field goal attempt. No passes, but they bulldoze it down the field. Dillon carried it 5 times. Bailey a few times as well. Flowers and Grosel. Kickoff sails through the end zone, and NC State will begin from its 25-yard line. Well, Dave Doran has said that he wants his quarterbacks to protect his football team with decision-making first and foremost. He says sometimes the play we call may not be the right play. Don't try to be a hero. Get us to the next play.
Yeah, and so far that has not happened. Hockman has the one big mistake in the game, picked off for a touchdown. So Leary now getting his opportunity, the redshirt freshman from New Jersey, his second drive.
Leary completed one pass. That was to Thomas for 23 yards. Led to the NC State field goal on the last possession. Running game has not helped him out much, though, today. Jordan Houston going nowhere that time.
BC really getting after it up front defensively. Once again, Carafa, 48, is going to make a problem initially, and then Valdez is going to polish it off. But the defensive front right now for BC winning the line of scrimmage against the NC State offense.
You notice Max Richardson came in there late, maybe trying to get the extra half tackle for the stats.
He's got to make sure that ball carries on the ground.
When you lead the conference in tackles, you got to pick them up, maintain that advantage. Jason Maitre of the pick 6 does the tackling here on Devin Carter. Creates 3rd and short for NC State.
Yeah, good job of taking advantage of the soft corner on the outside by NC State. Get the ball out quickly to Carter. And so now you're back to very 3rd and manageable, 3rd and short, as you mentioned, Evan. So now the run game comes back into play. But a good call recognizing a soft corner or a corner playing a deep 3rd out there, take advantage of it.
NC State with co-offensive coordinators Des Kitchings and George McDonald. And on 3rd down, it's dropped by Emezi. Leary put it right on the number 3.
Boy, that's what you don't expect. You don't expect your big-timer, Emeka Emezi, to drop a football. It's a well-thrown ball to the outside on the slant. Puts him right on the numbers. I talked to Doran this morning, and he talked about how lively Devin Leary's arm is, and I didn't think he put too much on that. That's one that certainly Emezi has to pluck out of the air for a first down.
Kobe White back to return the punt. And he shanked it into the NC State bench. Trenton Gill with his head down as he heads to the sideline.
Now that was the Danny Noonan punt. It landed in the lumberyard.
And that ball spotted in NC State territory. BC takes over the Wolfpack 47.
I can't wait to see. Somebody's researching that one hard to try to find that one.
A.J. Dillon back in the game. 12 carries for 79 yards, and now 13 for about 82. As he picks up 3 to begin this Boston College series.
Hey, real quickly, I want to send out a get well soon. Emerson Myers, who's Annabelle Myers' daughter. She's the SID Outstanding Sports Information Director for NC State. Does a great job providing us information. She was not able to travel for the first time in forever. Stayed home with her daughter who's feeling sick. She's feeling better. Get well. Emerson, we're thinking about you. It's certainly, she had 102 temperature or whatever, but certainly excited that the fact here she's getting better. But Annabelle, we miss you. Wish you were here with us.
70. 10-yard penalty. Still second down.
Agree with everything you said, Dave. Well done. John Phillips, not as well done. Called for holding, backing up Steve Adazio's offense.
Well, it's hard to overcome major penalties, Evan, when you run the football. You're not an explosive offensive team throwing the ball. So now it's going to be up to Grosel to try to make a play, because it's 2nd and long. It's not 1st and 20. Now you're back with 2nd down.
5 penalties on BC so far. And here comes David Bailey breaking free. Makes a move downfield. David Bailey takes it all the way. Backed up in the running game. Who cares, Dave Archer?
No kidding.
54 yards. Bailey goes the distance.
Yeah, David Bailey just snubbed that in my pie hole, didn't he? No question about it.
David Bailey, I talked about this offense came in with 19 plays of 30-plus yards, and a lot of it is in the run game. But NC State's so good against the run, this is something you don't expect them to give up. The #1 rushing defense in the ACC just got gashed by that big offensive line and big running back David Bailey.
Extra point. Ekes over the bar. It was deflected.
Yeah.
Listen to this. NC State allowing 66.7 rushing yards per game. David Bailey with the longest run of his season. He goes 54 in one play. David Bailey goes 54 yards for the touchdown. Our 5-star drive summary brought to you by Yellowwood. A penalty pushed him back, and then Bailey took him 54 in less than a minute.
Who cares if it's second and long? We got to play for that. Let's give it to one of our big guys and let him go downhill.
I'll show you the replay after the kickoff. It was pretty clear that NC State had a chance to make the play, and one of the reliable linebackers just came up empty, whiffed on the tackle.
Well, the 8-man box is designed to have one man in every gap, and as it turns out, Isaiah Moore, number 41, the middle backer, focus on him. Isaiah Moore, number 41, he's clean in the hole to make the play. He misses the tackle. There's a hat on everybody else, and off Bailey goes to the races. When you have 8-man up in the box and you've got a man dedicated for every gap, you have to make that play, and Moore misses the tackle. That's how tough these two backs are, Bailey and A.J. Dillon, to get them on the ground. Such big body guys, they can throw you off him.
And they sure wear on you over the course of a game. Bam Knight, the running back for the Pack. As we get a whistle, clock stops with 5 minutes remaining in this second quarter.
You know, usually when you see a team that can run the football like Boston College, you see the rushing numbers. Usually you're pretty good against the run as well. This is a Boston College defense that has not been that. Gave up 236 yards to Louisville last week on the ground. Teams are averaging just under 200 yards a game. That kind of belies when you're normally good against the run, it's because you have a good rushing team. Hasn't been that way, but it is today.
Leary rifles it downfield, intended for Thomas, who was hit right near when the ball arrived. Maybe a tad early, but the throw is not on target.
Yeah, Leary working against Thomas on the outside. It's a deep curl route. Get there a little bit early. Ball was kind of errant. Maitre, the rookie, has the interception return for a touchdown. Got away with it. Sometimes it's what you can get away with out there, Evan, than what they call or what the rule potentially is.
3rd and 11. Wolfpack 1 for 7 on 3rd downs so far today. Leary throws it short of the marker. And it creates 4th and short from the 33.
Yeah, just good disciplined zone defense from Boston College. Everybody where they're supposed to be. You leverage the player that ends up with the football. Leary makes the good decision. They're playing deep. Throw the ball to the outside. Let your guy go one-on-one. But an excellent job of rallying the football team defense, getting on the ground.
First catch for Tabari Hines. He picks up 9, but the punting unit is back on. Which means Kobe White back on the field for BC. White standing around his own 22 and now retreating inside the 10, back at his own 5. He makes the catch. Gets it back out to about the 12-13 yard line. That's where BC will take over, leading by a couple of touchdowns. And while we have a moment, let's give you the answer to today's Aflac Trivia Quiz. The researchers have consulted with the record books. How many ACC teams have won AP championships since the AP poll debut on this day in 1936? 5 of them. Miami, Clemson, Florida State, Pittsburgh, and Syracuse. What's the ACC school not on that list that you think could be the next school?
And Miami won those championships, but they were not an ACC school, of course.
Back to the ground, BC's A.J. Dillon spinning past defenders. Dillon bouncing off tacklers out near the 40. It's almost shocking to see NC State's defense get gashed like this.
Excellent block on the outside by Garrison, and Dillon just kind of probes the line of scrimmage and finds that cutback lane.
Back to A.J.
You see how everything now is going downhill, Evan. We saw some sideline-to-sideline stuff. NC State defended that extremely well, but now they're just kind of coming off the ball physically up front, pulling a backside guard or a tight end, trapping and getting straight downhill with these two gigantic backs.
Downhill with tempo, too. Dillon on the bench. This is Bailey. And the flag flies late as he picked up the first down, but we'll see if it stands.
Oh, it's an offside on NC State. NC State trying to crowd the line of scrimmage, jump the count a little bit.
They picked up 4 yards. The penalty would give them 5. It's a first down either way.
Defense number 13. Penalty is 5 yards and results in a first down.
Well, Coach Bajakian, the offensive coordinator here at BC, is going to keep giving this defense a steady diet of these two backs and this big offensive line. Until you can stop it, you're going to get a taste it. And this running game is going to continue to come at them.
Here comes Bailey again. Makes a man miss. David Bailey down the sideline. Breaks another tackle. Touchdown, Boston College.
You get so caught up on the inside and defending that downhill running game that both these backs have the ability to bounce it. This is a little bit more of an inside zone or stretch play where he can bounce it to the outside. And both Bailey and Dillon have the ability to do that, have the athleticism as a big back to bounce it, get one-on-one with the corner. And most corners aren't interested in tacking 250.
Boston College has rushed for 232 yards in this first half.
So you just bounce it to the outside, and that's a one-on-one play. Dunlop has to make that play. He's the only defender out there, and just a poor job on the back end to kind of rally and make the tackle. You hope that Bailey's okay. You look at the back end of this play, and looked like an NC State defender fell on his leg at the end of this play. Watch the back end of this play. Good hustle. He fell on the back of that left leg, or right leg. He got up and walked off, but you kind of hope he's okay there.
For Bailey, that's 5 carries for 113 yards and 2 touchdowns. A.J. Dillon, 15 carries, 116 yards for Steve Adazio's Eagles.
It's like the anvil and the hammer, right? Just kind of pounding on you.
And as a defense, it's tough to regroup. I mean, the Wolfpack have been used to being dominant in the run game.
Well, and it doesn't help that your offense isn't moving the football. Your offense is going 3 plays and out. And so the defense over there trying to get their breath a little bit, maybe make some adjustments, probably aren't having enough time really to do that because you're not getting anything out of your offensive unit.
For the second time, Boston College kicks it out of bounds. Not ideal for Danny Longman.
And once again, he exits the field about 30 yards from his head coach. Steve's got to be feeling really good about the way his offensive line and running backs are controlling the football game. With his young, inexperienced quarterback, he needed to run it. They needed to be able to run the football, and they've done that.
2 fouls on the play. Free kick out of bounds, kicking team. During the kick, holding receiving team number 30. Those penalties will offset or replay the down. Free kick.
Hard to believe you can get called for holding when the kick goes out of bounds.
Yeah, it's that initial line, right? They're trying to lock up and get their initial block, so you get the penalty there.
Jeff Flanagan, our referee today, signed by the ACC. Steve Adazio will get another chance to send this one into the end zone.
Well, and NC State needs a play, Evan. Somebody needs to make a play, and they've been very good through the years on special teams. If they send the freshman Lassane back there, he's been pretty good on returns. They're looking for somebody to light a fire, give them some type of play.
Where would you estimate Dave Doran's frustration levels are right now?
He's at the boiling point right now. I don't think there's any question about that. And the defense has not played up to their abilities, and give BC a ton of credit for making them play that way. But he's got nothing out of his offense so far. You got to be kidding me.
I mean, the third time you almost have to believe that it's intentional. Adazio walking toward his kicker.
Yeah, he's trying to stay away from Coach Adazio. No. Come over here. We got to have a conversation here.
Guessing it's not intentional.
See, that's not what we're looking for. Well, Steve could be a little bit calmer because his team is controlling the game. It's 24-3. I think that would be a different conversation if this was a one-score game.
Trent Penix motions to the outside. Devin Leary gets hammered. Look out. Here comes Max Richardson.
Well, Richardson, number 14. Nobody accounts for him. He just comes from the second level, that linebacker level. That's what a lot of times you see quarterbacks point out who you're responsible for up front. You go empty backfield. Penix motioned out of the backfield. You only have 5 guys to protect. And a poor job of NC State sorting out who that extra rusher was going to be. Max Richardson with his he's got about 2.5 sacks on the year. He's been everywhere though.
Unblocked, loss of 7. Leary, quick throw. Emezi out near the 40. Coming up the half, we'll have a look at the scores from around the ACC. A couple other noon kickoffs, one in Louisville, one in Miami. We'll also hear from Steve Adazio. And first half highlights and stats as well. That's all coming up in less than 2 minutes of game time.
Yeah, big games across the conference today. How about Duke and Virginia going head-to-head?
Of course, most of you will see North Carolina and Virginia Tech at 3:30. Pretty good defense downfield, a late hit and a late flag. And we'll see if the flag was for PI or for the late hit from Mike Palmer.
First down.
Called holding on the outside on Maitre. Maitre coming in on the right side. Let's see if he may have happened prior to that. It would have been pass interference had that been the call.
Yeah.
They called holding, so it happened early in the route. Palmer got to be careful there, coming over and taking that extra shot. That could have been an unnecessary roughness there.
Ball spotted right at midfield. Leary hit as he throws. A flag also down on the play. And flag looks like it's for a pre-snap foul.
Once again, BC times up the pressure and gets to Leary before he can get it out. He did not see the blindside blitz coming.
Second down.
Okay, so after the snap, a play will stand as an incompletion.
Well, Dave Doran is looking for someone to step up and make a play. A lot of times you go to your veteran players. Thayer Thomas, Kerry Angeline, the tight end, Emeka Emezi, looking for somebody to make a play for him.
Remember, NC State will receive to start the second half. So this is a huge 90 seconds right here for Devin Leary and the Wolfpack. That ball hung on to until it was dislodged late. And it's incomplete.
Looked like he might have juggled it. They were trying to get the ball to Hines. Damari Hines, the transfer, in the slot, runs a really good route. Ball probably gets there a tad late. He had separation early. Ball just didn't get there in time. Nice job by DeBerry, one of those freshmen. Comes in and gets the ball out.
And a couple freshmen in the secondary. Josh DeBerry, Connor Greco, Bill Sheridan, Steve Adazio saying these freshmen are going to play. We're going to throw them out there, live with some of the mistakes because they got great potential now. On third down, set up the screen. Trent Penix brought down well shy of the first, 4th and 6.
Just didn't get any help from his offensive line. Trying to get Josh Fed Jackson, the big right guard, number 66, out in the play. He got hung up protecting. And so as it turns out, you got no personal protectors in the screen. And a good job of reacting by BC defensively to get Penix on the ground.
Eddie L. Attract, grad student from Orlando, makes the stop.
Yeah, one of those guys has been around here forever. Latrack, this is his 43rd game. Latrack at safety, played a lot of special teams here, but finally getting his opportunity to starting safety.
And had not started a game before this year. Started the Virginia Tech game, the great opening day win for BC. Timeout called by Dave Doran right before the play clock expired. Well, Dave Doran expected his defensive line to be tested today. Boston College has aced the first half exam.
Well, this was the game within the game, was the run game of BC and their big offensive line and backs against this outstanding defensive front seven, really, for NC State. But Bailey and Dillon have worn out the Wolfpack on the ground. You thought that Dillon might be the headliner. It's been Bailey. Dillon over 100, but Bailey has 2 wrong touchdown runs. And the 2 big backs have brought the hammer to the dance.
The Eagles with 202 rushing yards in the second quarter. Boston College has not thrown a pass in the second quarter, and they're outscoring NC State 17-3 in this 15-minute block. Gill's punt. White lets it bounce right near the pylon, and that is marked at the 1-yard line.
Yeah, unfortunately for NC State and Dave Doran, they've had to burn timeouts. That'd been a more significant play had they had their bank of timeouts left. But with only 1 timeout left, they'll just have Grosel lean forward here. Make NC State burn 1 timeout, maybe do it again, and they'll be off the field. I can't imagine this being any more than quarterback just falling forward here twice, and BC will go in with a nice lead at halftime.
Dennis Grosel certainly hasn't been flashy. 70 yards passing for him. 51 of those were on the long run after the catch by Hunter Long, just as you predicted. Grosel leans forward, picks up a couple.
NC State not even going to waste the time with the timeout. I'd make them snap it one more time deep in their own territory. You could get a fumble snap, but they won't do that.
Well, how about what Boston College has done behind Dennis Grosel in his first career start? This is a guy that they tried to rally around, and they expected the high level of play to remain. And with backs like Dillon and Bailey, Boston College's offense has been humming in this first half today. NC State will receive in college in that first half. They lead by 3 touchdowns. NC State set to receive the second half kickoff, and we'll see if Danny Longman can keep it inbounds. Right down the middle. Fair catch called. Longman did his job there. Moments ago, Kelsey Winger caught up with NC State coach Dave Doran.
Thank you guys so much. Down here with Coach Doran now, and Coach, a lot of game left to play, but we know this defense has been really good against the run. It was a rough second quarter for you guys. What adjustments would you like to see in the second half?
Yeah, that's as bad as we can play. When we got to set edges, they're getting in condensed sets and cracking our edges, and we got to replace. We got to get off blocks, and we got to tackle them. It's fundamental football, and we didn't do it right.
What is Boston College defense doing that's limiting you guys so much on offense and in the run game?
Well, they're defeating us up front. We're not getting a lot of time. You know, at quarterback, we got to settle down a little bit. We haven't got our run game or our pass game going, so they're playing better than we are right now. Just got to step up.
Thank you so much for your time. Good luck in the second half, Coach.
First play of the second half, Devin Leary to Thayer Thomas to move the chains.
Yeah, I love it when you come out and you've got a look that you see, that you get the look. That's a zone coverage. Run the clearing route on the outside, and Thayer Thomas runs that deep out route. They don't have anybody out there, and Leary shows the arm strength to shoot it on the long side of the field for first down, the first play.
Leary 5 for 9 in the first half. They stay in the air, and that's an incomplete pass. Dislodged from Emeka Emezi by Brandon Sebastian.
It's twice if we've seen Emezi drop the football. These are catches he has to make. This is a contested catch. He's got to expect contact at the back end. Nice job by Sebastian to come up and lay the wood to the big-time receiver, but Emezi's got to catch that ball.
completes it. Devin Carter breaks a tackle, and he might go. Carter taken down from behind inside the 10. NC State needed someone to step up and make a play.
Carter just a quick out, and Maitre, who's played pretty well all day long, has the interception, just misses the tackle. Excellent move by Carter, the freshman against freshman, and then Palmer, a touchdown-saving tackle inside the 10-yard line.
It was bizarre. Carter's running free, and to our right, we've got the BC band finishing off their halftime show with the fight song.
Ruling on the field was a catch. Previous play is under further review.
Going to take a look and see if Devin Carter stepped out of bounds at the top end of this route as he caught the football. See if Maitre actually was get enough of him to see if he pushed him out of bounds. Let's see. It's a good quick throw by Leary. Check the feet here. Oh, I see green between the toe.
I do too.
And the white sideline. So I think that's going to play. It's going to stand. Confirmed right there. Nice play by Carter to spin out of the tackle and create a play. You talked about it, Devin. You needed to make a play. And who do they look to? Well, the freshman, Devin Carter, makes the play.
Ruling on the field is confirmed.
55-yard completion to Devin Carter, longest of his young career. Puts the NC State offense down to the 7-yard line.
And this is an area where NC State's been plagued a little bit. You see, we talked about how there was 24-25 they scored down here, but 10 of those are field goals. That's not what you're looking for as an offensive coordinator. You're looking for touchdowns. They're only converting 56% of the time down here touchdowns. They've already been turned away once on 4th down. This is the drive that has to end with a touchdown for NC State.
Des Kitchings, co-offensive coordinator for the Wolfpack, told us we recruited Devin Carter to be the next big receiver here. Meanwhile, Matt McKay is in the game, trying to run it in, and he will take it to the 2.
Put your quarterback in that has a little bit more versatility to him. McKay, a much better runner than Leary or Hockman. This is a straight run all the way. Got the tight end out in front, Parnham, and McKay pushes it down to the 1.
3 wide receivers to the left, up the middle. Penix net at the 1 and denied the line.
Mehdi on the track, the safety steps up and makes the tackle. It's a big-time play by the safety. He's the guy that's responsible for that gap, steps in, takes advantage of it. Lamont and Valdez are there to help him get him on the ground, but a nice play by Track to be in the right place at the right time.
Dave, in the first half, we saw BC come to the goal line, stand on 3rd and goal and 4th and goal. Now on 3rd down, Leary is back in the game for the Wolfpack. Thomas in motion. 3rd and goal. Leary into a crowd, and it's incomplete.
You motion Leary across the formation, and you try to use Devin Carter as a pick on this play. This is one where Leary's got to watch it because Carter's actually going to come open in the back of the end zone. Look at Carter standing wide open in the back of the end zone because 3 BC defenders went with Thayer Thomas. Got to read the play. Yeah, you're looking for the rub to get Thomas the ball, but that doesn't mean that it's going to happen. You got to read through it.
One way or another, this game is going to change on this next play. 4th and goal for NC State. Leary zips it, incomplete, off the hands of Emeka Emezi in the end zone. And the BC defense stands strong on the goal line again.
Well, just a good job by Sebastian, the corner. He knows he doesn't have to backpedal out of here. He's got the back line as an extra defender. So they're trying to run a quick out down here at the bottom of the screen. He doesn't have to backpedal. He can sit on the route. Does a good job of getting the left-handed and batting it away.
Before today, NC State had taken the ball in the red zone 25 times. They had only come up empty once. They've been stopped on 4th and goal twice today.
But they have not been able to score touchdowns. They've been 10 of those chances were field goal attempts. They'd only scored 14 touchdowns down there. And that is going to decrease now, that percentage of touchdowns getting down there even further.
They're not getting field goals today either. That's the problem. Dennis Grosel handing the ball off to A.J. Dillon. And he'll pick up a couple yards out to the 4.
Well, this is an opportunity for NC State's defense now to pin Boston College. We take a look at what these running backs have done in just a phenomenal first half, combined 230 yards rushing between the two backs.
Dave, you mentioned the first half, Dillon closing in on Andre Williams' all-time record. He was just under 300 yards away from Andre at the start of the day. Now less than 200 yards away from becoming the all-time leading rusher in a prominent BC history. That pass ruled out of bounds. Hunter Long ruled out.
Thought he had Long earlier on this play, so you got to get your shoulders square when you're getting that way. He does that, and see Long open right away, but he's a little bit late with the throw, and Long runs out of real estate to try to get the right foot down. And he gotten that ball out a little bit quicker. It was a really nice play design, get the quarterback out of the pressure and have him give a throw, but just didn't get it to Long in time.
It's been a few years since Dennis Grosel started a game for St. Ignatius in Cleveland. But as a high school quarterback, his offensive coordinator, Nick Restifo, liked to have him throw and roll him.
Offense number 64. 10 minutes, half a distance to the goal. Still third down.
Now, his best plays so far today have been that, Evan, when he's gotten out of the pocket and had the ability to use his athleticism to throw the ball and to move. Was a good runner in high school. You mentioned St. Ignatius in Cleveland. Good dual threat guy.
He enrolled in January of 2017. Did not see any playing time in 17 or 18. Great protection from his offensive line. Grosel makes a man miss, makes another man miss, and gets very close to the line to gain. In fact, he picks up the fourth down. A gutsy run from Grosel.
It is. I think it's a generous spot, too, but he actually has Long come open, decides I'm going to protect the football here, and we just talked about his ability to run with the ball. How about that? Pretty good effort to get out over the first down. I thought he got a bit of a generous spot, but you'll take it if you're Steve Adazio and move on.
And for his next trick, he'll hand it off to A.J. Dillon. And Dillon perseveres through some contact and takes it to the 15.
And we had the pleasure talking to A.J. Dillon yesterday, and I had a chance to do his game his freshman year, which was his coming out party, where he ran for 276 against Louisville in Louisville. He just was a monster in that game. He says, yeah, it's a good memory. He smiles, but I don't look back much. He stays forward. He's playing well today.
That was October 14th, 2 years ago. 2 years and 5 days ago at Louisville.
Smart kid, too, as he's trying to scratch and claw towards that first down line. He talked about how he needed to move forward, get better in his game, wanted to work on catching the football, work better, and work on his pass protection. You know, excellent runner, but wanted to work on his overall game. That's a guy that's really kind of dialed into what he wants to do.
Algiers Jamil Williams Dillon Jr. asked him if his mom, or if he ever gets called Algiers. He said only his mom when she's angry with him.
Yes, he's not angry with him today. He's run the rock pretty hard. Very, very good kid. It was really fun to talk to him. Very intelligent guy that has a very good idea of where he's going, what direction he's headed.
By about 3 or 4 chain links, Boston College comes up short, so it'll be third and inches.
And this is always that one as Bajakian is the offensive coordinator. Do you turn around and hand this? I like the quarterback leaning forward here. I don't think you turn and hand it to a guy that's standing 7 yards back in the backfield. I think you lean forward and behind this big offensive line, behind Lindstrom as center.
I mean, this offensive line has controlled the line of scrimmage today and then some.
Yeah, they've really dominated. It really has been the surprise of the game.
And not that we didn't think BC's O-line was good, but this NC State D-line has been fantastic lately. Stymied Syracuse. Some movement up front. It's going to back them up 5.
Yeah, see, that's...
Offense number 78, 5-yard penalty. Third down.
That's one of those scenarios I don't like. If you're just going to have a quarterback sneak, I don't think you do anything like this. You get a little window dressing with the motion. I've got 300-pounders that are leaning forward, chomping at the bit to come off the ball. You can't make them wait. You get up there, you go quick count, and come off the ball and let the quarterback lean forward. Now you're third and medium. Chance for NC State to get off the field.
I think that was the freshman left tackle, Tyler Vrabel, who's played relatively mistake-free through his first 6 college football games. Now what will Grosel do here? He didn't complete a pass in the second quarter, but there's a first down completion, finding his security blanket, Hunter Long, to move the chains.
Yeah, very solid set of tight ends here. You talk about Garrison, Adrizi, and Long. Long just finds the hole in the zone, immediately presents his numbers to his quarterback, and a good job by Grosel to be on the same page.
Long began today second in the nation, or in the ACC, I should say, tight end receiving yards behind Miami's Brevin Jordan. 3 yards on the ground there.
Well, he hadn't hurt himself with a couple of catches so far today.
Not at all. Hunter Long for the Eagles is their top receiver. 2 catches, 60 yards. Here comes Bailey again. He cannot be tackled. David Bailey, representing all Davids proudly today, Dave Archer.
Yeah, no question about it. Yeah, Dave Bailey's having a big day. You heard Coach Dorn talk with Kelsey about setting the edge. And you see the pin right there, the pin block to the inside. Just no edge set. That means you keep that outside shoulder free as a defender. Force that runner to turn inside or force him sideways to the line of scrimmage. And a good job by BC to set the edge offensively, not defensively for NC State.
Missed tackles are piling up. It's not going to be a fun film review in the NC State room on Monday. It's Dillon with a huge hole. And he got grasped from behind, and a flag flies late.
Yeah,
wonder what took so long.
Yeah, was it the horse collar tackle? We'll see. Looked like Baby Jackson, Savon Jackson, the freshman. See if he gets that left hand up into that nameplate area. Or did he get his face mask? They call it a face mask? Boy, it looks like his hand stayed off the mask there.
There is no foul for face mask. First down.
Well, that's a nice job by the officiating crew to get together, kind of get that from different angles to make sure that they didn't call an unnecessary call there on Savon Jackson, who did not get the face mask on the play.
It is a first down run, though, for Dillon. And A.J. hitting the backfield. Wolfpack rusher lost his helmet. That's Drake Thomas. You just want to show off those locks.
I guess so. Got a little Clay Matthews working right there. But yeah, shot through, unblocked. And see what's happening now, Evan, is they've drawn so many defenders to the line of scrimmage. Play action over the top is available for probably a one-on-one shot for a touchdown, because NC State's getting so many people around the line of scrimmage. The safety only playing about 8 yards deep. Now he sneaks up. Going to move the other safety, Engel, back.
They give to Dillon. He's tracked from behind. Nice tackle by Jakeem Harris, who's made a couple good plays for the Wolfpack defense today, the freshman.
Well, the key, you keep hearing us say freshman, Dave Dorn talking about hit. They've got 11 players out.
So many injuries. You think that all the players they've lost to the NFL the last couple of years, those are 13 names that are now playing on Sundays. Big third down here. Remember, NC State, 16 sacks the past 2 weeks, none today. And a quick screen to a wide open tight end. Hunter Long, rumbling, bumbling inside the 10, where he stumbles down. It'll be first and goal.
Love the design on this play by Coach Bajakian. It's a middle screen to the tight end. Watch, he's going to release back to the inside. Just wide open over the middle is Hunter Long. Really cool design. A lot of times the screen is kind of out near the numbers, right? But Long releases back to the inside. Caught NC State napping on the play.
Boston College into the CPI security red zone. This is Bailey. He's got 2 touchdowns already. And he carries a couple tacklers to the 5.
Well, the other part of this drive that's happening, Evan, and they like to play with some tempo, yet they're eating clock like nobody's business, and that's become a major problem for NC State, is they're running out of time to try to climb back in this game.
Remember, this drive started from the 2-yard line after the turnover on downs.
Yeah, the Grosel run on third down kept the drive alive.
This is the 15th play. They've already gone 93 yards. 5 more to go. Dillon halfway there. Behind the play after handing the ball off, Dennis Grosel stumbled, and he's back on his feet, no worse for wear. And Grosel starting today for Boston College because Anthony Brown, the 3-year starter,
Talented player.
Injured 2 weeks ago, non-contact, eerie thing because it happened on the same exact play where he got hurt a couple of years ago, midway through the season. Grosel takes over, relying on his big backs. A.J. Dillon breaks the plane. Touchdown, Boston College. So after a couple end zone trips for Bailey, it's A.J. Dillon's 7th rushing score of the year.
Boy, nice kick out block right there. Just leaning forward, extending the ball, and he had broken the plane before the ball came loose, no question about it.
16 plays, 98 yards in 6:38. And they're going to take a look.
Touchdown. Previous play is on further review.
Well, this is a scoring play, and they look at all the plays, but this is close enough you take a look at it. It's just as he breaks the plane, the ball comes out. Let's see, extend the ball. Now, we don't have a down-the-line look at it. Ball hits Jackson on the helmet, and the ball comes out, but only official's going to be able to tell that because we don't have the straight down-the-line look. The official called it right away that he'd broken the plane.
Look at the number 90 on the left shoulder of the defender. The ball is right over that number 90, and that number 90 is on the goal line.
You sure about that?
From the first angle, I thought so. There you go.
Well, we said he was in, so good job of splicing two shots together right there, Evan. You could work in work in replay.
I want to be a replay review official
when you grow up.
Yeah, when I grow up.
I hear you. Well, Coach Adazio's group has been grown men of the offensive line and running backs because they have just blown NC State off the ball in the run game.
The other thing about being a replay official, you're relatively anonymous. You know, you're down to the field, everybody knows, and you can make a lot of people angry. Here's Boom Mary for the extra point.
That's the witness protection program.
Exactly.
Right there.
30 far today for A.J. Dillon. And his first touchdown to culminate that last drive. 16 plays, 98 yards, in more than 6.5 minutes. Dave Archer, how surprised are you by what we've seen in these 2.5 quarters?
Yeah, I'm stunned. I thought that BC would run it some with the two good backs. I thought that this is a good offensive line. But NC State, you obviously had that all the bank of information you had based on them and what they've been able to do against the run. And you wonder if just not seeing a team or playing against a team that has the same abilities, big offensive line, two backs that can go get you, has really worn NC State down. But I think that their lack of offense has really hurt NC State on the defensive side.
It's the drive brought to you by Land Rover. This was the key third down scramble that turned a 3-and-out into a 16-play, 98-yard bolt.
Yeah, NC State had a chance to get off the field on 3rd and 8, could not do it. This was a huge play on the screen. Long has been outstanding. I like the design there, and of course you hand it to your big fella behind that offensive line and let him finish it off. But nice mix of the screen game and the run game there, and BC operating on all cylinders the way they like to operate. Big people on the field, screen game, run the football.
And on the complete other end of the spectrum, you got the NC State running game right now, which has accumulated 1 total yard. Here's Leary firing deep. Great defense intended for Carter, but Jason Maitre up to the task.
Yeah, Maitre, the freshman, has the interception return for a touchdown. This is a really good job of staying in the hip pocket, locate the football, elevate, high point, knock it away. Kind of textbook corner play right there by Jason Maitre, the freshman, redshirt freshman, Salem, Mass. An outstanding job out there.
And BC's defense gave up 664 yards in their last game 2 weeks ago. Less than 200 yards for NC State today, and nearly another interception. If Richardson had made that catch and kept his feet, he might have had the second pick 6 of the day.
Well, Angeline looking around like, okay, I got interfered with, and
certainly got held.
You might make an argument for the fact that he got his hands on the tight end there. But Richardson has had a solid day again. Was outstanding last week. Is doing that again this week.
Look at those numbers in the bottom left. Isn't that staggering?
Yeah, it's amazing that this BC defense, who giving up 192 yards per game on the ground, gave up 236 to Louisville, has limited NC State to 1 yard.
It is he throws, and Leary completes it to the outside for Carter.
Boy, this will show you arm strength right here. Valdez drops the hammer on Leary on this curl route. Watch him cut this loose. Now he's going to take a big shot right at the back end of it.
Hey, you said
a big-time throw.
You said something crazy at dinner last night about how quarterbacks try to absorb the hit and use the hit to their advantage to gain momentum with the throw.
Yeah, absolutely. You try to take that shock, and it helps propel your arm forward. It's just something you learn as a quarterback to do. And Leary had to do it on that play. Nice in-traffic catch there by Carter. We've seen NC State drop a few that have been tight coverage. But this time, Devin Carter, look at that catch. Ball placed where it's supposed to be on the outside part with the defender to the inside. And that's a nice hands catch by Devin Carter. He's stepping up. Made a couple big plays in the last series.
Last 2 plays, 19 yards to Carter, and then 11 yards to Carter. And here's Leary again, looking to the other side. Josiah Provolone makes the catch. First and goal, NC State.
Another big shot down the field, fade route. You got to put this ball on the outside shoulder, and Provolone's got to save room to the outside, which he does. Look how he saves room to the outside, which allows Leary to take him to the sideline with the throw, and then a nice catch falling to the ground. Boy, NC State's been here before, been turned away twice on 4th down.
First impact play for Josiah Provolone. 38 yards for the redshirt freshman from Irvington, New Jersey. BC gets so many players from New York and New Jersey. There's Richardson adding to his tackle total, bringing down Jordan Houston for a loss.
Yeah, went back to the run package with McKay at quarterback, and this is kind of the zone read look. This was a straight hand because they had a player out in front. Harnum, the tight end, was pulling around, leading him, so there was no read for McKay on the play. It was a straight handoff. McKay leaves Leary back in the game at quarterback. Now, they like to get the ball to the top of your screen here to Thomas, but Boston College did a nice job of bracketing Thomas up there with the 2 defenders. They're going to flood it with 3 receivers to that side.
Leary back in there. And he rifles it short of the intended target. Houston.
We're really impressed with Sebastian.
Everyone in the BC secondary.
Well, but the way he's playing it, remember he played the play on 4th down in the last drive that he took over. He understands he's got the back line and the sideline as a defender. He doesn't need to backpedal out of there. There's no place to go, and there's no place for them to throw it behind him. So he's playing right along the goal line and sitting on routes. Now you look like you got man coverage here, and Thayer Thomas is 3rd inside.
Leary, back corner, incomplete. And if you're Dave Doran here, what do?
Well, late with the throw there. This is good design. Watch there, Thomas. He's open right now. You got to give him the ball right now, but he's late with the throw. Elatrack can come in and cover him, and so now he's forced to throw it into the back line. He's just late with the throw. That's an initial quick rub. He's got to get it to him right as soon as off the rub.
And if you're NC State, you're down by 28 on the road. A field goal doesn't do much for you. Feels like this play is do or die.
It looks like you got zone coverage.
Leary completes it. And NC State's Thayer Thomas hangs on for the Wolfpack touchdown.
They've been trying this route to the wide side of the field. They bring Thayer Thomas to the weak side and now run that same little quick out from the slot. And see, BC's playing zone. They're playing off. And Palmer plays too deep in the end zone. Thomas understands it, just gets across the goal line, and Leary puts it on him. That's the same play they tried on the other side and missed Leary in the last series of downs.
Sophomore kicker Dunn converts the extra point, and who knows, NC State gets in the end zone for the first time from 6 yards out. Leary to Thomas. Thayer Thomas with his 2nd receiving touchdown of the year. Remember, he's also thrown for 2 touchdowns. The versatile Wolfpack receiver, also baseball player for NC State, drafted by the Boston Red Sox in the 33rd round this past June.
Well, they did a good job of finding him, and we'll show it to you here after the kick, where they found a place to get Thayer Thomas where they could take advantage of the zone coverage.
This is returnable, and here comes Ben Glines. Across the 20 to the 25 and lunging out near the 30.
All right, here's Thayer Thomas in the slot. He's right down here at the bottom, right here, okay? You're going to get an outside release here. This defender's going to play too deep. He's just going to get across the line for Leary to get him the football. See, defender plays off just a tad too much. Thomas is going to turn across the line. You clear out the corner. They've been trying to do it, Sebastian, the corner, and he'd been sitting on the goal line, taking away that throw. Nice adjustment there to get Thayer Thomas, their best guy in the football.
And you critiqued Leary before for not throwing it early enough. He threw that ball right as Thomas was beginning his break.
Yeah, he knew exactly what he needed to get it out.
Back to the ground game. Bailey stays up, but the whistle blew. NC State's Tanner Engel delivered the hit and shook himself up, and a flag flies in the aftermath.
Yeah, it takes a lot of courage to come up as a 185-pounder and try to hit a 250-pound running back, and he's feeling it right now. He's trying to fill the gap, which he did, but it's just, you know, big on little, and rarely does that work out.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 11 defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's the penalty that has grated Dave Doran throughout the first month and a half of the season. They check on Engel. We step aside. Didn't look like David Bailey was down. The whistle blew, but I'm not sure his knee touches, and then NC State gets penalized 15 for a late hit.
Yeah, I mean, and Dorn was arguing the fact that he was, you know, actually Wilson got it right. He was not on the ground, but because the whistle blew, you got to shut it down when the whistle blows.
Back on the ground. Bailey dragged down from behind.
We've seen a number of players play defensively. Drake Thomas, the freshman linebackers, got into play. They've had to circulate a lot of bodies in just because they've been on the field a ton defensively, and this offense has really been grinding them. To get fresh bodies in, they got to play a bunch of youngsters.
Not like NC State didn't know that tackling was going to be tough this week, but David Bailey has had plenty of open field, and then when the contact arrives, he's been able to break through it. It was interesting what Dave Huxtable told us. Linebackers and DBs during the past week of practice tackled the heavy tackling sled every day during the week. They usually do it once a week. This past week was every day to try to prepare for these bruisers. First down from the 30. Here's Dillon again. This is his 25th carry, and he will pick up about 3. When you look at A.J. Dillon, you see a lot of different running backs. He's studied LaDainian Tomlinson. He talks about how much he studied Leonard Fournette. He talks about how he studied the greats like Walter Payton and Earl Campbell. He is a learned running back.
Yeah, he likes to watch all those guys that were good no matter what era. He certainly looks like all of those guys.
Dillon to the 20. That'll move the chains again. That is the 20th first down of the day for BC. You know, a year ago, Dave, when these two teams met, BC only had 12 first downs in the game compared to NC State's 34. Very different story today in Chestnut Hill.
Give this offensive line a ton of credit. Sophomore center Alec Lindstrom kind of leading the show up there, but they got a good group that have really come off the ball and dominated the line of scrimmage.
Look at that. Dillon had a few yards just from what the line's push was right there. Picks up 3.
I mentioned Alec Lindstrom, the center. His brother was drafted number one by the Falcons. Day 1 starter, broke his foot. They're hoping to get him back in week 10. But I asked this coaching staff about the younger Lindstrom, and Chris was here actually earlier in the week nursing that foot back to health. They said that Alec is very much like his brother. That bodes well for another Lindstrom playing at the next level.
Well, the thing about Steve Adazio and his staff, they don't get necessarily 5-star offensive linemen, but I mean, to some extent, Dave Doran has done this too, developing linemen into future pros.
Well, something Steve Adazio told me years ago when we used to come over here to see his team. He was trying to build his team. Was the fact that they wanted to rebuild the offensive line, and he really has done that.
3 quarters of football in the books from Chestnut Hill. Boston College in front 31. 3 down, 1 to go, and it's time for our Red Lobster game summary. Total yards, rushing yards, third down efficiency, all in BC's favor significantly. Yeah,
and remember the 2 fourth downs that Wolfpack did not convert deep in the red zone for touchdowns, so you add that on top. So now you're 2 for 14 in conversions in those type of conversion situations, and that's really cost them.
A.J. Dillon continues to rise up the all-time Boston College list. He passed Mike Cloud today, facing Andre Williams at the top of the list, and he could get there next week. And if this trend continues, 160 yards for him today. Of course, David Bailey has 166 yards on just 11 carries. I'll do the math for you, Dave. That's 15 yards per carry for Bailey today.
I was told there'd be no math, so I appreciate that.
Third down, please.
It is third down for Dennis Grosel and the Eagles to begin this.
Well, this is one of those scenarios as we start talking about the beginning of the fourth quarter here where Coach Bajakian talked about we'll play to the 4th down number. And this is in the realm where they'll hand the ball to Dillon.
3rd and 6. Dillon has 6. Almost had the end zone. 1st and goal, BC from the 3 coming up.
Boy, this G play has gotten a ton out. This time it's Zion Johnson, number 77's the guy to watch. He's right there, the trap block. You get the block on the inside by the tight end Garrison, and down inside the 5-yard line. It's old-time football, really pulling 2 guys from one side to the other side, trap up through in the alley with Dillon.
A.J. Dillon to the end zone again. Touchdown, Boston College. What an answer. After NC State scored, BC marches again the length of the field, and they may have just put the game away.
Yeah, it almost looks like as though NC State's kind of out of gas defensively. Just no resistance on the perimeter. Coach Dorn told Kelsey as we came out at halftime, said, Kelsey, we've got to set an edge, and that means getting that outside shoulder free, turning the ball carrier back to the inside. They have not had any edge set today.
Mary makes it 38-10. It'll be a fun debate. Today has been BC's day. A.J. Dillon, David Bailey, the 2-headed monster. This time it was Dillon.
Well, we've been giving praise to 2 backs, and rightly so. But let's talk about Vrabel, Johnson, Lindstrom, Phillips, Petrula up front. That big offensive line, and then throw in Garrison and Young and Long and Dreezy, the tight ends that have blocked in front. Those are the guys that have kind of created the pathway for these 2 big backs to be so dominant, and they've run extremely well and hard. But give that offensive line and tight ends a ton of credit because they're creating the creases for those 2 big guys to roll.
2 touchdowns apiece for Dillon and Bailey. Dillon's at 176 on the ground. Bailey 166. Take a seat, guys. Have a drink. Longman has been better with his kickoffs in the second half.
You jinxed it.
Until now.
I blame you. That's the announcer curse right there.
Ball we place at the 35-yard line, 1st down.
If I have that much power, I'd love to see a comeback here and make this a little more interesting down the 4th quarter.
You're that guy standing over the guy standing over the 6-foot putt. He hasn't missed one inside 10 feet in 40 attempts. Wide left.
I know about wide left on the putting green, I'll tell you that. 14:32 to go, and this is going to be an interesting 14 and a half minutes for the Wolfpack. They have next week off. They've got a long time to stew.
No question. That's a good way of putting it.
Before they get ready to go to a place where they've struggled through the years. They've had a tough time with the Demon Deacons. That ball incomplete, intended for Thomas, as we check in on the sidelines with Kelsey.
Well, what a game, like you guys have been saying, for Boston College in the running game. And meeting with A.J. Dillon yesterday, super impressive guy. And we asked him about what it's like when he takes a step back, looks at the big picture, and realizes how highly opposing coaches speak about him and how much work teams have to put in just to prepare to face him. And he said last game it really hit him versus Louisville. He said after a tough loss, they were shaking hands on the field after the game, and the Louisville running back comes up and finds him and says, "Hey man, keep doing your thing." He said, "I look up to you and I've been watching you." And AJ told us those little things and the mutual respect between ACC opponents means so much. And you guys, I think he gained a little bit more respect today too.
I would agree with you. He talked about David Bailey too. That's his little brother. They're tight. He said he thought it was cool when Bailey showed up. He says, "Wait a minute, there's a dude that kind of looks like me."
Yeah.
Big back, running the football. We haven't even seen the third guy, Garwo, who we talked in that meeting. They love Garwo too, the freshman.
And Dillon says that freshman Patrick Garwo will give them advice on where to cut. That ball tipped in the air, and NC State fortunate that it lands incomplete.
Boy, when you watch BC play on the back end, they've played with a ton of confidence. That's a freshman again. That's DeBerry, the freshman. We've talked about Maitre at length today, another freshman corner. They're two young guys on the outside have played. And you talk about Sebastian, the other corner, the sophomore. Their young secondary really has stepped up, especially on the perimeter at the corner spot.
This is NC State's first punt to the second half. They punted 5 times in the first half. Couple bounces and down to the 14-yard line. BC has been bleeding clock with their dynamic rushing attack. We'll see them again when we remember this is a doubleheader day on your regional sports network. Sam Howell and the North Carolina Tar Heels are at Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, getting ready to take on Virginia Tech. The Coastal Division, it's anybody's guess. There's a big game between Duke and Virginia today as well, but these two teams right in the mix. Georgia Tech playing Miami competitively today in the Sunshine State. You absolutely never know. And we certainly didn't foresee this one today in terms of being 38-10 in the fourth quarter. Steve Adazio's team on cruise control offensively with a guy making his first career start at quarterback in Dennis Grosel.
Well, that NC State, or I'm sorry, that North Carolina Virginia Tech game going to be a fun one following us in Blacksburg. Got 2 quarterbacks at Howell's thrown 15 TDs, only 3 interceptions. You got Hendon Hooker coming off a 3-touchdown performance in their quarterback spot, taking over for Willis.
It doesn't today feel a little bit like when Virginia Tech was going down to Miami after they had just gotten crushed at home by Duke, and I think everybody thought Miami was going to win that game, and Virginia Tech gets tons of turnovers, pulls it out. And Miami's on the skids. They got a hot Virginia team coming to their digs and win that Friday nighter. You know, expect the unexpected.
Yeah, especially on that side of the frame, right? The coastal side has been interesting. Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech for several years kind of controlled it, but here recently it's been interesting to watch. You had Pitt in the championship game a year ago, and it's wide open right now. By the end of the day, you could have 6 of the 7 teams within a game of each other.
Back to the ground. Bailey will come up short on 3rd and 3. So we might see just the 4th Boston College punt of the game.
Yeah, there's no reason for Boston College to roll the dice here and give NC State an opportunity to short field. So they'll punt the football. They've played extremely good defensively. Now let's put Stayer Thomas up to bat. He had a really good return in the first quarter. He's willing to catch it in tight traffic and try to make a play.
And a flag. The NC State's coming.
Remember, we got a blocked punt in this game the last couple of years.
Yes, indeed.
Snap infraction, offense on the snapper, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
BC BC had a block punt late in the game last year down in Raleigh that made that game a one-score game, and really NC State had to kind of fight through it to get to the end of a 28-23 win.
Carlson gets it away, and midfield. Doran remembers it from last year that Wolfpack have won the last 2 in this series. This was 2 years ago, and NC State got the block.
Now, that was the one Doran was looking for today. That didn't happen, but last year, of course, this is the one where Boston College burst through, trailing in the game as much as 28-3, fought all the way back to 28-23, and that block punt late in the game gave them an opportunity. Just didn't quite close the show.
Travis Levy with 3:33 left made the recovery in the end zone. The ground game for the Wolfpack has been non-existent today until Bam Knight. And their longest carry was the 8-yard run from Devin Leary. Collectively before that carry, the Wolfpack had 6 different rushers carry it 18 times for 2 yards. That was a 7-yard run from Knight. And Max Richardson has been a big reason why NC State has struggled so much in the run game.
Yeah, they have not been able to get to the second level to get number 14 blocked. Richardson has blitzed and gotten on the quarterback. He's been in position to make plays when you try to cut back. That time, Bam Knight was trying to cut to the backside, and there's just no place to go with Richardson sitting in that backside cutback hole, and cutting that off and forcing third down.
For the Wolfpack, it has been all Devin Leary in the second half, with the exception of some short yardage Matt McKay situations. Here's Knight with some space. He gets the first down and more to the 27.
Yeah, good block by Angeline, the tight end. Angeline going to pull out in front. Watch number 6 get the block on Richardson. Right there, that gives him the outside. See, that's where you don't set the edge, and that doesn't force the back to the inside where your extra help is. And because of that block by Angeline, he skates the corner for a first down.
So that's what happens when they block Max Richardson.
It hadn't happened much today, that's for sure.
15-yard run for Knight. And now a little hitch, and it's Angeline. Makes the tough back shoulder grab for a first down at the BC 11.
Yeah, fake the quick screen. So they're going to try to set a quick screen up, fake it right there, and then the other 2 receivers release up the field. Angeline releases up the sideline. He was the one that looked like he was blocking, and then up the sideline. Good throw. Good job. Really actually a good catch, but not a bad placement of the ball.
Devin Leary's thrown for 214 yards now. Pushed out of the pocket to the left and slings it away. One of the big questions for Dave Doran to figure out who will be his starting quarterback when they head to BB&T Field in Winston-Salem in a couple of weeks.
Well, you mentioned that Leary's played all the second half. Came in the second quarter for Hockman. Bailey looked a little bit shaky, made a couple of throws that probably should have been picked off, and then ultimately had one that was picked off that led to a touchdown.
Here's Knight. He'll shimmy down to about the 8-yard line.
Been talking to Coach Doran. He loves the arm on both the guys, both Leary and Hockman. Loves both the guys' ability to shoot the ball down the field, to understand the coverage and that. And McKay is a little bit more of the kind of the double-edged sword, where he's a guy that can hurt you throwing it some, but more as a runner.
You can get a first down at the 1. 3rd and 7 from the 8, and Knight perhaps setting up the 4th down play call. Only picked up 1 or 2.
Yeah, interesting call there on 3rd down. They're anticipating an opportunity, maybe some man coverage in the back end, and didn't seem to get it. They played a little bit more zone, or gap conscious in the run game. Something BC has always been very good at here over the years, Evan, is their ability to play zone and be spaced properly. They're showing that look again, spread out across the goal, playing that zone look. See how they bump everything out against the zone and the motion.
Wolfpack 1 for 3 on 4th down today. They go to Thomas again. He is the security blanket on 4th down. It's an NC State touchdown. And the second of the day for Thomas.
There, Thomas is to Leary's right. He waits, kind of delays, and then comes back underneath the two receivers that released up the field. See him kind of hide in there a little bit, delay, come back inside. And that was a tight throw now. Not bad coverage at all by BC, but a really good throw by Leary just inside the hand of Tate Hens.
38-17. 8:49 to go. Crazier things have happened. Good drive for Devin Leary. 8 plays, 50 yards. Thomas with a touchdown. It's 38-17. 8:49 to go. After that, North Carolina and Virginia Tech. Tom Wormy, James Bates, and Abby Labar have the call from Blacksburg, Virginia.
I think they'll be cranked up in Lane Stadium today. The Hokies trying to defend their home field, one of the great home field advantages in all of college football.
I believe I saw that it was announced as a sellout earlier this week, so indeed.
I don't doubt anything less than from the Hokie fans. They come to support their team.
We get a timeout here before the kickoff. Certainly a potential onside kick brewing. You realize that last night's 62-59 Wake Forest-Louisville game, Wake attempted 3 onside kicks. They got one of them. They almost got all 3.
Now the percentages on these, I think, is somewhere around 8% or something like that, or 7% on these onside kicks.
Unlike the NFL, you don't have to be within 1 yard of that kicking line at the 35. You can get a little bit more of a head start.
Sometimes the little bleeder by the kicker right in front of him works better.
Hands team for both teams. Dunn's kick. Gobbled up. Kobe White makes it look easy.
Yeah, that wasn't the best of kicks. You'd like to have that a little bit more coming towards the sideline than up the field. Not much of a chance for NC State there.
Steve Adazio entered today, Dave, with his record right at 500, 41-41 as the head coach of the Eagles. Of course, both he and Dave Doran have brought their teams to bowl games 5 out of 6 years. This was a big one today for Steve. He had to get this one. They're going to get to the 6-win mark. Dillon again delivers the hit to the defender, picks up 7.
Well, and I wouldn't count, obviously the Clemson game is going to be a tall task for them. They've got to go to Clemson coming up next week, I believe, and so that becomes a tall task, no question. But they went down there 2 years ago, and that game was tied at 7 going into the 4th quarter.
Yep.
Now Clemson blew it open in that 4th quarter with Travis Etienne going off. But this is a recipe to win games. Run the football.
Another good stiff arm for Dillon. Jakeem Harris might have saved the touchdown, and Dillon just went over 200 yards in the day.
Well, A.J. Dillon has been a monster, as has been David Bailey. And again, the offensive line creating those huge creases for him to run through. This is now 5 of their 7 games where BC has rushed for over 250 yards. Came in averaging 253 a game. They're well over that, well into the 300s now.
I'm going to correct you.
400s. Okay, 400 yards rushing now for this team. But you kind of knew this is what they wanted to do. NC State knew this is what they wanted to do. And if you're able to impose your will like BC has, it makes it hurt even further if you're an NC State player or fan.
They were exactly at 400 after that last run by Dillon. AJ's got 210. Bailey's got 174. I mean, these are video game-like numbers from the BC running game.
Think about Dillon now. That's he's got 17 career 100-yard games.
Today's his 30th career game.
30 games, 17 times he's gone for over 100 yards. So, I mean, when you start, counting on things, A.J. Dillon's a good guy to put your money on.
And he's now just 88 yards away from Andre Williams to become the all-time leading rusher in school history. Began the day 298 away.
Had the pleasure of doing a couple of Andre Williams.
How about him?
God, you talk about Marshawn Lynch at the NFL was beast mode. He was beast mode here at NC here at Boston College, and now A.J. Dillon is picking up that mantra. He and Bailey are both beast mode today. I don't know if they're all going to get Skittles after the game or not, but certainly deserve them.
Who is the biggest beast of a back that you got to hand the ball off to in your career?
Gerald Riggs in Atlanta. Gerald Riggs was a first-round draft pick at Arizona State, 240-pound back that could run 4.5, and that was back in 1983 or 86. Big back that could really run. Reminds me a lot of Dillon.
Dillon moves the pile down to the 8-yard line. That was a third down play to move the chains again. The 23rd first down of the day. Dave Doran's defense, look at that, unbelievable. They had allowed 400 yards in the season through 6 games. Surpassed that today.
Well, you mentioned it. They've got a bye week coming up, and this is going to be an opportunity, a couple opportunities. One, to kind of get them grounded, get back, say, hey, maybe you're not quite as good as the press clippings are telling you. And certainly this will smart for the defense because they got a tremendous amount of pride on that side of the ball under Dave Huxtable. But it'll also give them a chance to get healthy. They are really beat up at NC State. Get some people back on the field.
Dillon bounces off one man and glides into the end zone. It's like he's made of rubber, and he just bounces off tacklers and progresses downfield. 8-yard score for Dillon, his third of the game. He's got 223 yards on the ground.
Well, let's take a look at Gumby here. Watch Gumby bounce off right there and bounce right into the hole. Just a nice job. Now look how big the crease is. Evan, I think you would have scored on that play. Now, I don't know if you've been able to bounce off the player that was blocking in front of you, but certainly had you found the hole as big enough, that was pretty good running by Dillon.
In my football days, I was known to get out of superlatives for A.J. Dillon, who was the first running back in BC history to have 1,000 yards as a freshman and a sophomore. He's closing in on 1,000 as a junior. 223 today. Toyota, let's go places.
Well, these are the things we knew he could do. His ability to run the football, this offensive line come off the ball. And talking to Dillon, it's fun to think of him as trying to improve as a blocker. That was his #1 goal coming into the season. When you run it like this, just let them block for you, A.J. He's just been a beast. This was his last touchdown run where he bounced off of one of his own blockers to get in the end zone. But he and Bailey both have been outstanding.
Dave, he's now 32 yards shy of 1,000 for the season. And that's the all-time Boston College touchdown list. It's inevitable that A.J. Dillon will rise to the top of that group as well. Will the kick be in bounds? No, sir. The one guy who's not looking forward to the film review.
Look at Steve Adazzi on the sideline. He's like incredulous. He's going, what in the world? Look at him. He's going back down to talk to him again. He's down on the sidelines. He goes, what in the world are you doing? You got all that green spot. There, they did it.
Danny Longman is not the place kicker or the punter, but he's had the role of handling kickoffs, and that might change. Devin Leary back out there. Quick handoff to Jordan Houston goes nowhere because Cheetah Salah, who helped set the tone early with a big sack in the first quarter.
Haven't mentioned his name since. He had the big play. You talked about him coming in. Long athlete. They love the kid. 6'5", 235. Tests off the charts for his position. They feel like that Cheetah Salah, if he grows into that 6'5" frame, he is going to be a monster. Another play behind the line of scrimmage for him.
When you're going against a DN that's 6'5", 6'6", as a quarterback, is that in your mind? And here's a pretty big hole for NC State's Jordan Houston as he takes it down to about the BC 35.
No, you don't think it's about the size of the guy. Now, if you're trying to throw screens to the outside or something like that, he comes into play. But here, biggest run of the day for NC State. Nice job. They went with one of those broken line plays, as I call it, where they pull one from one side to the other. Houston, a back that the other rookie back, if you will, the young running back, true freshman.
Sometimes the numbers just work out. NC State had 28 yards rushing on the day, and that run was for 29. Longest of Houston's young career. Leary zips it downfield and incomplete. We got 4:14 on the clock here, remaining in the fourth. Hendon Hooker getting ready for his third career start as a Hokie. And look at that, 6 touchdowns, no picks. He has answered the call for Justin Fuente's team.
And he brings an element of the ability to run with it some that they needed to have, Justin Fuente's offense, and have the quarterback be a little bit more involved in the run game.
Here comes Houston again. You know, it's always a cool story, and I'm sure you appreciate this. When a quarterback gets his first opportunity. We saw it a couple years ago with Kenny Pickett winning that game down at Miami. And, you know, Jamie Newman had the great game that I apologize to Wolfpack fans for bringing up in his first start for Wake Forest. And today with Dennis Grosel, and a couple weeks ago with Hendon Hooker. You know, those are memories for these college kids that they'll remember for the rest of their lives, that first start.
Absolutely.
You remember your first start?
Absolutely. Started at Dillon Stadium in Tennessee. Played the ball team that had Reggie White on it and Bill Bates and those guys, and we had a chance to win and lost by a field goal at the buzzer.
Here's Leary's pass. Nice catch. Angeline stumbles down inside the 10. Did you make acquaintances in the backfield with Reggie White that day?
Yeah, he came back and said hello a couple times. Mike Kofer, who was also a draft pick for the Lions, was on that defensive front as well. But we had a chance. We just didn't make enough plays down the stretch, and they kicked the field goal to beat us. Floyd Reves kicked the field goal. Kicked a long time, and the NFL kicker kicked it to beat us. That was a nice catch by Angeline. Very nice throw by Leary. Angeline, I'm sure he's kicking himself. He'd stay on his feet. He walks in the end zone.
24 yards on that passing catch to Angeline, the tight end. Leary again. A little bit behind Angeline that time.
Yeah, and this is one where Leary, young quarterback, will learn. I got a big receiver here. Angeline's an outstanding pass receiver at 6'7". You don't need to rush this throw or throw it on a line. I've got a bigger player. I like where the ball is from a height standpoint, but put a little bit less on it. Take a little bit off. Put him up the bat. Give the big receiver, the big tight end, a chance to make the play.
Leary's McKay is in. Matt McKay, the redshirt sophomore out of Raleigh's Wakefield High, does have 4 rushing touchdowns on the year. Waiting for a hole, and it never materialized, and he goes backwards.
Sheeta Salah, I mean, you might want to try to run it wrong the other direction or something. Well, they ran away from me. He made the play from behind. This is Sheeta Salah. Watch him set the edge now. This is the epitome of setting the edge. As that team keep the outside shoulder free, keeps that outside shoulder free, sets the edge. If he wants to turn back to the inside, you've got players to help you. If he wants to continue outside, then you push it wide. You make the play yourself. That was textbook by Sheeta Salah, the freshman.
One play and done for McKay. Back to Leary. Back to the air. And a drop.
Yeah, that ball went right through his hands. It's a well-thrown ball. You can see the big arm. Leary's got a big arm. Now he's got to learn to develop some touch, but he certainly has a skill set that Dave Dorn's talked about. He loves the big arm, his ability to make all the throws. Now he's got to understand when he's got to take some off of it, develop some touch. That was when he had to rip, and that's when a receiver has to catch for him.
Devin Leary had thrown 8 passes for NC State before today. That last throw was his 32nd of the game. Ike Ekwonu may have gotten away with a hold, and it becomes an NC State touchdown as Leary scrambles and finds Kerry Angeline in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, really nice job by Leary to buy time here. I thought he got out of the pocket too early. He was wanting to get Angeline the ball early on this play. Angeline going to go right down through the middle, gets a little hung up. That's where he wanted to go with the ball. But then he skates out of the pocket, does not lose where Angeline is, tracing the back line, and puts the ball on him. Again, running to his left, rips it to the back line to Angeline for the touchdown.
And Devin Leary has thrown 3 touchdowns, all here in the second half. But it appears it'll be too little too late for the NC State Wolfpack, who will likely fall to 4-3 and 1-2 in the ACC. And their upcoming schedule involves a trip to Wake and then a home game with Clemson before Louisville, Georgia Tech, and North Carolina close out the season.
Yeah, really tough road to hoe. And the Louisville team is playing extremely well as well. They're not having good luck today against Clemson, but nobody is. But to Wake, Clemson, Louisville, 3 consecutive games in a Georgia Tech team that's playing pretty well down in South Florida right now.
Mac Brown and Justin Fuente saying hello. Friendly chatter. Is there anybody friendlier in the pregame meet than Mac?
Mac's great. I was recruited by Mac when he was the offensive coordinator at LSU. He recruited me to come down to play for the Tigers. I decided to go to play at Iowa State, but what a great coach he is and had a tremendous career.
That's coming up with Tom Wormy, James Bates, and Abby Labar at the bottom of the hour. Another onside kick. That one chipped downfield and scooped up by Ben Glines. NC State 3 timeouts, 2:04 remaining.
A smart play there by Glines. He's a graduate student, senior here. He's a guy that realized there's no reason for me to try to make something happen out of this, so he just slides, secures the football. The worst thing he could do is try to scoop it. Next thing you know, NC State ends up on the ball. That's what they're hoping he would do, kicking the football there, but the graduates do it and makes a graduate-type play, doesn't he?
Glines, another Ohio kid. He played against Dennis Grosel's St. Ignatius team when he was at St. Xavier in Cincinnati.
St. X, pretty good program.
Glines playing the 45th game of his career for BC today.
St. X produced Luke Kuechly, if I'm not mistaken.
Clock ticks under 2 minutes as the Eagles pick up a couple.
Yeah, completely concentrating now, obviously, on burning the rest of this clock out. But been a heck of a performance by BC up front on both sides of the ball. I think that this will be a fun film, a fun tape for all the players here at BC to watch. When you win a game physically the way they did today, that's always fun to go in, and it's certainly on the other side of it, it will not be a fun moment for NC State to go sit down and watch this and see how they got pushed around.
Peter Stair with his first carry. I think Peter's going to go tell his friends, hey, I got to run the ball today, and as a team, I was part of a 420-something yard day on the ground.
Yeah.
How many did you get? Don't worry about that. Don't worry. Just.
That was a big chunk of it. Big chunk.
I mean, every week feels like a turning point, so things can flip so quickly in this conference. It's really fascinating. But today, a 50-50 days, we see Matt Valecchi, tall freshman from Mamaroneck, New York, has not thrown a pass this year and probably will not here. And Stair gets to the 39. He's 1 yard shy of the first down, but that's not going to matter because the play clock is going to be turned off, and Boston College is going to have a very happy homecoming weekend here in Chestnut Hill. A.J. Dillon and Dennis Bailey were a dominant duo in the backfield, and that might be an understatement. Steve Adazio gets a very impressive bounce-back win after a couple narrow ACC losses. It's BC domination today. 45-24 is the final. The Eagles over the Pack.
Yeah, just an outstanding performance by Coach Adazio's team, coming off of a couple of close losses. Lost very close 2 weeks ago by a 3-point loss, and then, of course, the 2-point loss to Louisville last week. These guys were a little down, but they had a bye week, regathered themselves, recommitted themselves, and you could see it today. Coming off the bye week, they came to play.
Bailey finished 16 for 181, 11 yards a pop with 2 scores. Dillon, 34 carries for 223 and 3 trips to the end zone. And the Eagles improved to 4-3. They can keep their offensive line and their tight ends and their running backs healthy. This is going to be a team, just because of the way they play.